Right then, sorry about that. As I say, hackers are having fun. Change your number, email address as requested by Fraud Squad, and they still like to have fun with my phone. We know who's doing it. We really know who's doing it. They won't get away with it. Not with me. Never could. So, as we were saying, the first card, this is for the Angelic realm now, for the Earth Angels. Thank you. Everybody who's seeing this around the world, thank you. Okay? You know, you've been my rock, to say the least, when the last 4 or 5 years they've been targeting me, really stepping up the plate on targeting me. And, you know, as you correctly picked up on, we're looking at corrupt housing association, we're looking at corrupt individuals all around, you know. So people are well aware of it, and thank you. It's being looked into, and the individuals involved will end up being prosecuted because, you know, they've targeted me since I moved here, to be fair, because of my, you know, stepdad owning the contracts for the kitchens and the bathrooms. So, and he forewarned me then that how corrupt this housing association was. Cheap materials, asbestosis, asbestos, crumbling bricks, not just along the pointing. Bricks are crumbling like sand because they're sandstone bricks, and a whole housing estate is collapsing. So, you know, we already know why I'm being targeted, because I voice the truth for a living, you know. So thank you everybody one more time for spotting this globally and assisting where you can, at the great risk of yourselves. Like I said, I know that others are being attacked as well, and we just keep voicing the truth all together. Okay, Angelic realm are on it. They can't kill me, don't worry. They've made so many attempts. Like I said, I'm numb to it. So corruption ring will fall here on in. They are in up to their necks without a paddle, and the corruption in government will end in our nation. I'm pleased to say it will end. You know, we may not be getting the results right now, but it will end, and I will ask for a confirmation on that, see how powerful my energy is. Will the corruption end in England? See, there's many ways of getting answers out of the spirit realm. Okay, this is just one of the many ways. Remember, I'm a healer, so, you know, I can't bring in the cure for cancer until, as my guide said, the corruption falls, because we know what they're going for. You know, big pharma at the end of the day can't profit here off my cure for cancer, because it wasn't built for the pharmaceutical industry in mind. It was built for the people in mind. And that's my joy to give forward to those I see fit. You know, it's built for the healers. It was created out of a pure heart. That's why they've been targeting me as well, because I have a pure heart with pure intentions. The cure for cancer could only go to somebody with pure heart and pure intentions that doesn't involve the pharmaceutical industry. Initially, like we all agree, yes, there has to be pain relief in place, you know, while you're going through your bowel cancer removal surgery, and that's exactly what I did. I had sepsis at the same time, so I had to heal from that too, you know. Delay in diagnosis. There are major prosecutable things that I am looking at here from all different angles. You know, when a nation, you know, when doctors, as others are finding, when doctors are bringing forward confirmations that I've had that we're going to see an increase in illnesses and backlogs, and our government's lame excuses now, paying people not to, you know, paying doctors not to take patients into care and stuff like that. We know the corruption level is high up. That's why I had to voice it in. Sorry, I've got a hair. That's why I had to voice it in, because I foresaw it all happening. And I had to give the confirmations of, look, we're going to need this, you know. So at the end of the day, it's important for humanity, and that's why as a healer I bring forward holistic solutions, non-pharmaceutical industry solutions. Like I said, I've got 8 cures behind that, you know, and coping strategies for disability and health of the mind. You know, they thought they'd play about with my mind and make me look the crazy one and turn around and say I was crazy nuts and saying I should shut up and take my tablets. Hilarious considering I'm allergic to antidepressants, you know, and I've had that for many years and I've about had enough. So there is to be no more corruption. The angelic realm have said that. It will fall. It is destined to fall if they continue what's going on around the planet right now. Just checking the heat of my phone. You can always tell, like someone else picked up on, you can always tell when your phone's been hacked because it gets very hot out of nowhere. Now I've changed my phone number, I've changed my internet services, and they're still having fun. So we know why corruption in government would want to steal cure for cancer, to profiteer off it. What are those corrupt individuals doing in government? Well, they're racketeering and putting it into the weapons industry, and the people are suffering. And it's no more. That is it. No more. And that is something, that's why I bring together a court case in the event that our government do this. That's why I spent 25 years building the evidence to bring forward to the table and go, right, here we go. You want a court case for humanity, you've got one. That's why I built it. It's for the people. At the end of the day, it's for the benefit of many. Because we're all tired of seeing the deep state take control of this planet. We're all sick of seeing it. I've been awakened, enlightened since my own childhood. You know? I was having dream premonitions of all of this as young as 4. So when you're a natural born medium and healer and a prophetess, as I am, you tend to see the truth and the lies within 3 seconds. Getting that out there to everybody is another thing, because then, you know, you're under attack. Well, tough. They've attacked me for so long, I'm numb to it. You know, and what's the housing are doing to many, which is what I had to voice in and request an investigation into, because we've got an entire housing estate subsiding filled with black mould, which is no good for, as medics will confirm, no good for the lungs. I'm asthmatic. I've had to move my son for safety. He's autistic. Also, you know, he's had a cough lately that I've been a bit concerned about. And asbestos, damp boards, asbestosis, subsidence, crumbling. And it's not just me, they're doing it too. You look at every building up and down the UK. When I went to Liverpool Tube Station, it was filled with black mould and the smell was horrendous. I came back with a sore throat and chest, and you could smell the black mould walking through Liverpool Tube Station, and we could hear running water too. So it's the whole of the country. Basically, any building that was built after the war, after the Second World War, what happened was cheap materials, and what happened was there were only a limited time before they started subsiding. England is known for flooding frequently. Frequent flooding brings in what? Waterlogged land that then seeps into the bricks. And then you end up with black mould in your properties. And underground, you know. These are the things that I had to bring forward for a nation. What I thought I was bringing forward for the West Midlands ended up being for the nation. And, you know, disability, discrimination. I even had to forewarn the royal family that the government were going to do this. Start culling disability. And they've always targeted disability. We all know the reality of the system has never been built for disability in mind. That's why myself and many charities pull together to voice it forward to say this isn't good enough. You know, every charity up and down the nation is seeing the realities of what our government are doing to our country. It's inhumane, and it goes against every Disability Rights Act and Human Rights Act you can think of. And I studied law too on disability and human rights and planetary rights. So why I brought together a court case for humanity, because I knew we were going to need it. So on behalf of the nation, you know, who's all seeing what we're seeing, and it happens in America too, you know, that our government there are good people in the government that, you know, we've had good MPs come to my front door and go, look, in terms of the paedophile and trafficking ring, and catching them out, as I've been doing for a very long time now. We've had MPs come to the door going, look, we agree with you, we back you up on this isn't right. And then you've got the corrupt ones that were paid to turn a blind eye. We've had police officers I spotted being paid to turn a blind eye to the corruption. We've had council officers exactly the same, you know. And this is why I brought forward the voice of truth of many when the non-corrupt in the NHS came forward. And they all knew I got the balls to do it. They know, like Granny, where do they think I got it from? As Granny Jean, you know, standing up to corrupt officers. Where do they think I learned it from? And it was her I made, that none of my family knew that I made a promise to her when I was 16 that one day I would deal with the corruption that was targeting her. And similar principle, lots of kids came to my door not being heard correctly, and knowing full well I'd never turn anyone away that needs help. All voiced it forward, and we all voiced the truth of a nation as care providers, as, you know, healthcare professionals, and all the whistleblowers of the truth were being targeted. When you've had constant threats, shut up or we take kids away, shut up or we take your house away, you become numb to it. And then you eventually reach that turning point where you go, do you know what? The corruption can off, because we represent the people at the end of the day. That is what we do. We represent humankind, mankind, the planet. I've always been a humanitarian. I have always wanted to save the planet, because from an early age I could see the corruption in every level. Being a natural born medium and healer, you know, and seeing all of this in my dreams. And my goodness, the dreams I'm having at the moment, the premonitions, is unbelievable, because I'm being shown via the spirit realm who's saying what, who's exactly doing what, and for what reasons. You know, everyone made out, oh, just because I've not got my business online, and all these lies and false rumours started coming out about me that weren't true. They just weren't true. You know, I step in to help many as I can. I could say back in 2010, I helped save policy and change policy on the way that autism's looked at. That was about 2010, 2012, when an internal memo went round. And I brought my voice forward to more acceptance in autism and my reasons, and that went into changing policies. More acceptance for autism. I had another email yesterday from the National Autistic Society thanking me, saying, look, we know that you're really working hard at this. I get constant emails from charities everywhere thanking me for the importance of all of our work combined together. And this is the thing in England, the injustice in disability has always been there. Since I was a kid, and the first person I looked after was a guy with kidney failure. And he took my kids to school in a taxi when my back had gone. He's one of my closest friends I lost in the pandemic to an unbearable amount of cancer, head to foot. They missed it. He had 2 weeks to live. He bought enough gifts for his family, and that was it. You know? And then we all said goodbye. And his mum, who's also disabled, and I promised her I would get some justice. Everybody that I mentioned in those documents because we realised there was something going wrong with cancer in the pandemic. And I promised every single person I wrote in those documents that I would get it investigated into, and I did. And then, you know, there was the big investigation. There was the public investigation in England on COVID and why the policy allowed for the shutdown for cancer patients, and cancer patients weren't being treated correctly. And it went out further, and the World Health Organization looked into it, and an inquiry was done. It went posted out through the Lancet, and a email that I read, you know, updates from the Lancet that yes, what I spotted was right. They shut policy. You know, which idiot allowed that to happen? And like Shrewsbury Hospital, the COVID ward was in front of the cancer ward. You couldn't have, you know, who allowed that policy? We all want to know. I've still got friends at that hospital who came to me with decency and went, look, there's a real bad problem here. Even when I was in the middle of my bowel cancer, and I got out of my bed to help people. There was an elderly gentleman that smacked his head full on in the bathroom, right next to my private room, and I had to pull the cord, you know? And it's not the nurse's fault. They can't keep blaming the nurses. They can't keep doing that. It's not their fault. This comes higher up at policy level. It's the policies that we need to change that continually don't have the best interests of the people and patients. That's the realities we're all looking at in England, is failures in policy, in health and safety, you know? We're all seeing that. From police officers who are seeing an increase in health of the mind difficulties, in you know, things that are happening that side. We're all seeing an increase in it, seeing the amount of orbs going past. It's because I'm speaking the truth. I can only give you the truth, you know. And no matter how many times I'm hacked, I'm never going to stop avoiding the truth. I've been targeted most of my life for speaking the truth. So, no skin off my back, is it? At the end of the day, it's the policies that let the people down, time and time again. And the system, as we know, wasn't built for disability in mind. That's why we have to, you know, wait for the corruption to be collapsed in order to bring in new policies that protect people. Because our governments aren't. They're putting all our UK funds currently are going into weaponry. The realities is more harsher than people think. You know? I don't agree with war. I don't agree with weapons, and you know, I don't like it. It's not for me. I'm a peace-loving person, but I will fight for those I love. I always have. I'm very protective of those I love. But at the end of the day, we're seeing right across the nation, our government is letting everybody down, and that's not okay. People are dying. People are in need. And it's all because red tape and policy and procedure that we all know in the care industry, we all end up getting frustrated by, because there's certain things you can do, there's certain things you can't do. You try and voice it and they target you. It's been well known throughout the NHS, any whistleblowers get targeted. That's well known. So if you can hear snoring, my husband, he snores extremely loud, and that's why I don't sleep most nights. So if you're hearing snoring, that's his why. He's going to get loud. We should poke him. It stops him. Snoring. I'm doing a reading. Sorry about that. So the realities is it's not looking good. You know, the NHS, I even had to forewarn that the NHS was about to bottleneck and collapse. And the NHS is broken. Why? Because of greed and policy. Pharmaceutical industry, paying incentives to doctors. Pay a cash incentive to sell their drug. They're given bonuses for that, for goodness sakes. When the reality is the pharmaceutical industry does not help people to get better. I mean, come on, if Bayer can create heroin and put it out on the streets for then people to get addicted to, and then they get arrested, it's not Bayer that gets prosecuted, it's the individual that's got addicted to heroin, let's say. They don't create cures, they make people iller. We all know that. We all know the realities. But is it a case of, is humanity going to continue accepting this BS? Or is humanity going to step up to the plate and go, do you know what? There are far better methods. And that's what I brought in. A more natural, the original way. You know, holistics. I mean, pharmaceutical industry's only been around for 125 years. Yeah? Before that, it was all holistic. Natural. And that's what my cure for cancer was. Holistic, natural. Yes, I had to use morphine after my right hemicolectomy, and I was plastered in morphine bombs. It was awful. I lost most of my stomach, a huge section of my intestines. And I've been voicing in that I got cancer for 6 years. And the surgeon involved kept dismissing it. That's why Wales saved my life. And I'm forever grateful to Wales. I always will for that. Because they couldn't believe it either, how bad it was. You know, but then certain individuals were paid cash incentives to turn blind eyes. That's where the corruption is. If you take a payment, you've become corrupt. You know, as in take a payment to turn a blind eye. That's where the corruption lies. Now, is humanity going to continue accepting that? Or is humanity going to go, do you know what, that is not acceptable behaviour? People were paid to turn a blind eye against paedophiles and traffickers. We know the harsh realities. I went through the entire care industry to spot it. Trained on every level for a good reason. You know, it's not acceptable. It is not acceptable. We're not in the medieval era. 6-year-old children marrying 40-year-old men. That happened in the medieval era. It should not be happening still now, where children are targeted, and I cannot thank West Mercia Police enough for finally stepping up to the plate, and I've never seen so many being caught in the West Midlands. You know, all I did from an angelic Reiki purpose was light the paedophiles up like a Christmas tree so they could be found quicker and prosecuted quicker and brought to justice quicker. A natural process I can do. Bring down the corruption. I can light up the corruption like a Christmas tree. I can. You know, that's not a problem. Every corrupt individual, I can have them glowing like a Christmas tree energetically so they can be caught quicker. I did it with the paedophile and trafficking ring in the West Midlands. And that's not using dark magic either. That's using angelic presence and a method I was taught by the angelic realm. Because it's time it all stopped. It's not acceptable. So, as I'm getting on the subject of your psychic visions, your psychic dreams, listen to them at this time because it is super important. Poppy. Now, every time I see a Poppy, I think of Granny Jean. She was huge on her Poppy Legion, giving duty of service for 75 years of her life. And she died penniless. She gave most of her life in duty of service. She had a house collapse on her that nearly killed her. And she died penniless. 75 years of her life went by. And she was dedicated, totally dedicated to duty of service. Same as me. And she died penniless. We used to put our pocket money in a rented TV. You know? I did. Save my pocket money and give it to Granny Jean, put it in the back of her telly. You know? She wasn't paid enough to look after the children she did. You know? But the corruption targeted her too. You know? And she had it was a well in the cellar and flooding that caused it. Eventually her Georgian house kitchen collapsed in on her and nearly killed her. That's how I spotted this place was collapsing. Because it happened to my Granny Jean. Sorry about the noise. My cat's in their playtime. They got a great big playroom and I've given them all obstacle course and that, so they're having a whale of a time in there. But what happened to her, they did to me. And I'm sitting in a house that's subsiding too, and I keep having premonition dreams. The back end of the house is going to collapse. I've been having that for 15 years now. And I got notice yesterday that my ceiling is coming away from the wall. And for a security reason, because I live next door to a hitman who keeps one of his killers that's currently under investigation with the police, thankfully. I've got to move. We got full confirmation my ceiling on the back of the house is coming away from the wall. That's not livable conditions. So we can see why, you know, they try to do what they have with my finances, target my disabilities, because I've got endo and psoriatic arthritis, which is turning osteo. As the hospital said, I'm still working on reversal processes. I'm understanding the endo from a holistic point of view, and there's a wonderful surgeon out there that's been guiding me. And I send much thanks to him. And he's in New York, you know, and I keep updates with him. He's one of the best in the world. You know, unfortunately, England doesn't have the capacity for endo, and I know plenty of nurses that have got endo who go, there's nothing. And they've got endo and they're still nurses. So I'm going back into the NHS to do my duty of care once more. But, you know, take note of your dreams as they're important. So a premonition dream of my house on the back subsiding that I've had for 15 years, we had confirmed. That's how important your dreams are, because they provide vital information. You know, some dreams are your everyday worries. Other dreams are there for a reason. I've been having premonition dreams my whole life. What's going on with the volcanoes? Like I said, I was 4 years old. First time I had a premonition of all these volcanoes going off and lava flowing across the houses. I was 4, you know? So take note of your premonition dreams right now, because all earth angels will be given and shown these premonition dreams. Like for me, another one, big one, was San Andreas fault line. Please look at San Andreas fault line, because that one is going to break off California, and you will see a break in California, and it'll become its own little island, you know. And I've foreseen all of this. You know, as a prophetess, I don't brag and boast, and, you know, I've got no ego in it. The point in the premonition dreams is it gives you an early warning system. So then you can voice it in so that we can save more lives and get them out safer and quicker. The Japanese tsunami, I wrote in the books, in my first books I wrote, I had premonition dreams of the Japanese tsunami in 2011. And I felt powerless. I couldn't do anything about it, because all the signs, which country it was, were all blocked. So they were showing me what was about to happen, but not which country. Then as it came out in the news and, you know, everything like that, and then we realised the force was that strong, it tilted the earth off its axis, and hence why we've got a climate shift. You know, England's in a more wetter country. You know, England's always been a rainy country, but it's more a tropical country now because it's closer to the equator, because that tilt shift was enough to cause an off balance of the planet. Hence why we're seeing so much in terms of climate shifts as well. Not just one thing, it was that tsunami and earthquake that tilted the earth off its axis to a point where it's affecting England quite badly. You know, time speeding up as well, so everyone's seeing the core of the earth is a problem with it. You know, however, the good news is not all bad news. Is, as we know, the north in Iceland areas, certain places in the North Pole started to freeze over again. So it's so important to take note of those premonition dreams, and even if in doubt, voice it anyway. If you have a premonition dream, voice it. It's what we've got to do here on in. I've got about 30 books, notebooks down here on premonition dreams that I've had over the years that have all come true. Every single one. Even down to communicating with loved ones in my dreams, the ones that have passed over. It's so important to take note of your dreams right now, because they are super important as mediums, as healers, as light workers, starseeds, as all of us get these premonition dreams. You just have to know and discern what's the reality and just write it down against what's fiction. You have to discern on that. But if it's, tend to find when you wake up and it's so prominent like you were actually there, that is a dream to take note of. So for instance, you have a dream of, you know, an earthquake going off and you're in the middle of it. And you wake up in a sweat and you're panicking, you're thinking, oh God, I'm still there. And you can't get it out of your head. That is a dream to remember. So take note of your dreams at this time. Use your foresight to what you're born with. Everyone's born with the same abilities. It just depends how much work you do. Master your craft, as they say. You know, I've spent a lifetime mastering mine. Just because I don't voice it as much as I should doesn't mean to say I'm not doing my work and I've not lost my mediumship capabilities. Another false rumour. I've just been conserving my energy, finishing healing from bowel cancer. And I notice every time I'm heading towards a new beginning, they do something to mess it up. No more dark magic nonsense, because the angelic realm will fire it back at you times 10 for trying to target me in the first place. Earth angels are protected by the angelic realm. So, using foresight at this time is super, super, super important. Rely on yourself. You know, I mean, I've watched mediums out there give so good and accurate readings, and I always thank them, you know, when I've been unsure about something. But then I can tell the ones that were paid to sabotage, and I can see the intention behind the tarot reader. That's what I don't tell people. So the decent ones I thank greatly. The ones that aren't being given backhanders to lie. Those are the ones I thank, and the natural healers I thank, and the healers, you know. But the ones that got jealous or tried to sabotage my destiny, you know, they got to do their healing, because when they take the payment to corrupt, they make a deal with the devil. And no, I'm not the devil, for goodness sakes. That rumour went out as well, that I was the devil. No, I'm an angelic being, working in my highest divine truth. Yes, I have PTSD on and off. And they do these things on purpose to trigger my PTSD too. We know that. The spirit realm told me. I get to hear all the things that people don't say via the spirit realm. And that's not monitoring spirits that people have used on me, or hidden cameras. Thank you for that, by the way. For the heads up on that one. And I did actually have a vision of a camera in the corner of the room, so And that is being prosecuted as well. Hidden cameras, monitoring spirits to monitor me, lie about me, and then pretend to be me. That's being a gutter snipe. So at the end of the day, you know, we're now bringing the truth out in others' lies. You know, I'm a good person. I try my best. And if my best isn't good enough, go do and create better yourself. You know? So I'm redoing my business with fairy dust. That's all continuing. That's also why they're putting delays in, because they know that how strong a medium I am in this country. Have the grace to see it through. The grace to know and discern. Be graceful. Yes. When someone's really stepped over the mark, I'm not so graceful. My shadow side will come out and kick your ass. Not physically. I'm not into physical violence, even though I am self-defense trained by boxers. I've never punched anyone in my life. I'm not about to now. I still hold that record. 45 years, I've never punched anyone. Because I don't believe in that. My grandfather was a boxer at the end of the day, you know. He helped to bring down the craze. So, if my grandfather can bring down the mafia, or help to bring down the mafia, and I did wonder at one point if that's why we were being targeted, because of my grandfather, and corrupt officers connected to the case at the time, perhaps, or someone still alive in the know. But I can guarantee you I will bring down the corruption ring. Because that line gets crossed one too many times, and I've had a lifetime of people trying to take me out for being an earth angel, for speaking the truth. Then I will bring down a corruption ring, and I will have grace while I do so. And so should everybody else out there. Bring down the corruption ring, but be graceful while you do it, because this is what we're here for. No more corruption ring around the planet. No more backhanders to turn a blind eye either. As if they don't know that we can't see that going on. Been seeing that going on in the British government for a long time. It's enough. Seriously enough. People have suffered enough with the pandemic alone. People are still healing from losing their loved ones. You know? And I lost an unbearable amount of my family, close family, who took me through important times in my life, in the pandemic, mostly to cancer. That's why I was determined to stay alive and find out where the hell they were doing it. Voice it forward for an investigation. And I did. I'm still alive, and I currently hold the holistic cure for cancer, which is also why they're trying to destiny swap with me, because of its worth. And that's why my guide said I need to trust less people right now. Everywhere I look, I think, well, who's going to make money out of it? It's not right. It's got to be done properly. So having the grace and the discernment to know the truth from the lies is needed right now. I'm not just giving it out. You know, we've got to weed out the corruption first. Is what my guide said, is what the Angelic realm said. That's why I've kept it with me. That's why they tried to steal off my energy and siphon my energy and try and live in my energy. You know, they managed it for perhaps a couple of months until I found my every strength and the Angelic realm surrounded me and my ancestors and guides surrounded me to break it apart. So while they're targeting me, saying bad things about me, while trying to be me, hacking me, trying to be me. Ridiculous. I've never seen anything more ridiculous. And the Angelic realm said no more of that. Can't be me. You can steal my, which is what happened. They stole my birth certificate, my record of achievements, my awards that I won, auditions in my early days, my scholarship offers through Andrew Lloyd Webber's theatre group when I was a kid. My MTV auditions, they stole them. Proof that I worked in veterinary surgeries, they stole them. See, they can steal pieces of paper. Fine, do it. Well, you already have. My qualifications. My grandfather's marriage certificate was stolen that I had in genealogy files. But you can't steal my life experience, I'm afraid. You can't steal my memories of that. So we caught them out. And there's always a good way of testing if they're me. Can they name specific methods in microbiology that I used in cases of CJD, for instance? Which is why I'm ex-military of defence, and they targeted an ex-military of defence official, me. Now, why would they do that? Because I'm the one that spotted how COVID started, being trained in microbiology. Wonders, isn't it? Wonders never cease. So thank you to the press who did confirm to me and certain individuals at Ministry of Defence of why we got hacked and targeted. I appreciate that very much. Explains now why the Home Office was told why Fraud Squad was told by the Home Office, don't investigate. Home Office involved in corruption. At least we've got the Ministry of Defence, so we're half decent and told me the realities. So, Dragon's Blood protection. Dragon's blood is usually, and I've got some here, sage. It's usually to ward off negative energy, and it's particularly strong. You can get it in incense and stuff like that, and it is a particularly strong one. But this card, what I saw into it was the dragons, actual dragons. And if everyone thinks that fairy tales weren't real, go look how real they were. So the dragon, the symbol of Wales. And yes, I do have the protection of the ancient symbols and the ancient meanings and the dragons that were slain in England. And the dragons that we've all seen in the spirit realm. The animus animi, or anima, hang on, I can't read it, eyesight. Anima Mundi, and I do have registered blind family in my genealogy too, so. Dragon's blood, Anima Mundi, and this is about protection. Remember, dragons were misconstrued. They were actually protectors. And humanity screwed up on that too. Anything that was different got cold. Think about why they made an attempt on my life. If you're different, you get cold. You get seen as, oh, you're not part of the group. Let's just do the clicky stuff. You know? I got bullied online. And I don't take bullies. I eat bullies for breakfast. So don't even go there. Not literally, you know. Not a cannibal. But I deal with bullies for breakfast, should I say. So do not bully me for voicing the truth. Because I used to chase off school bullies off the playground when my disabled friends were being targeted by bullies. I used to chase them off the playground. So I've always been a protector. Again, they don't have that experience, do they? You can steal pieces of paper all day. A piece of paper is a piece of paper. You can just request new. They can't steal my life experience. So, the dragon, the symbol of protection. When dragon's blood was spilt, they went on a rampage in the medieval era. Just as unicorns were culled for their horns. Oh, it's true. And giants, Gola Good go do your research on giants and how they were found all over the planet and kept underground in museums. You know? Go do your research. Fairy tales were very real indeed. So, dragon's blood is one of protection. Okay? The dragons will step in and protect via the spirit realm when they need to. You know? And we have the ancient symbol of Wales, and Shrewsbury was once in Wales. They moved the border line. That's why Shrewsbury has a Welsh name. So, we have the Welsh dragon protecting us. So don't even go there, try and take me out. Spiritual wealth and abundance for everybody. If you know what to do with your spirituality, you can create huge abundance. I've got a legacy design I designed in 2013 that I'm just putting the finishing touches and embellishments to now. I've got my own legacy, you know, that I built. Your spiritual abundance is your wealth. And if you go chasing money, you're very poor indeed. That's shallow. To chase money. For healers, it's spiritual abundance that then creates the abundance in finances. My guides just said to me, hold back on my business because what I create is only going to be broken in and stolen because we've still got someone accessing my property with a missing house key. So that's why the cure for cancer is not to be made in this property. So they can do me a favour and turf me out and get my business started then, can't I? You couldn't give them monkeys if they turn me out or turf me out at this point. Their house is subsiding. It's not up to me to deal with the structural stuff as the tenant. That's why they're targeting many who are voicing the truth across the nation. So, your spiritual wealth and abundance. Angelic 19. You know? So, remember your spiritual wealth and abundance and what we have spiritually that then can be turned into transformatively, such as necklaces. I make necklaces and jewellery. My mum taught me how to create jewellery as a kid. I used to do lace making too, see? You know, so I create jewellery and these got little crystals on it. Little Schwarzschild crystals. I think I said it right. And, you know, little types of jewellery that I've been busy making. Been sitting on stock. I've got over 100 made. So just putting together my website and they'll be up for sale on my website. Candle making, I can do soap making, I can do many things. I'm a very creative person. I can do pottery, art, painting. I went to a specialist school for gifted children. Wakeman, where we went, was a specialist school. It was an art school for gifted children. You had to audition for it. I remember that. But there are many things I can create and make. That's why in the educational system, all us together, our mates, noticed they were clipping and curbing creativity. Because why do they clip and curb creativity in the mind, in the educational system? Why do they? The answer is simple. Because creativity creates solutions. And they don't want that, so they box the children in. We, you know, as adults went, no, that's not right. I had to help fund the art department of my children's school. Help provide chairs for the kids because they were all broken and they weren't getting the funding. They defunded the art department, my kids' secondary school. And the teacher was disabled. So myself and my daughter stepped in to help. See, these are life experiences that they don't have. They may have little farty pieces of paper, and I have said that, you know. with my qualifications on, or my awards for achievement in the arts, or, you know, choreography awards and stuff like that. They may have them. They may have my references and recommendations, but they don't have my life experience. So I've got many ways with the business and legacy that I've been building. There is an extra special section to it yet. Creating the cure for cancer and stuff like that. Well, that's for the people, you know. And I've got, like I said, I've got 8 cures behind that don't involve the pharmaceutical industry, including reversal process for Alzheimer's. Because I believe my grandfather had Alzheimer's at the end, and I came across many people with Alzheimer's and worked with a lot of people with Alzheimer's and looked at the reversal process and realised it was something very simple. And that's what I'm going to be doing classes on, things like that. So your spiritual wealth, your abundance, lies in your creativity. So you can be spiritually abundant in terms of your mediumship, your healers, your light workers, star seeds. Sorry, battery's low. You can be all those things, and that's where your financial abundance comes from. And I know that. It's just my guides have said not in this property. I mean, the holistic gardens that I built, my neighbour, the one that keeps trying to kill me and, you know, has physically marked me, has currently sprayed weed killer all over my gardens. All my holistic plants are now dying with weed killer. That's why my guide said not in this property. I've built the prototypes in this property. I know what works, I know what doesn't work, and why I'm building a new healthcare system. But the reality is, so I just put my charger in. The reality is I'm stuck next to a neighbour who's trying to kill me constantly and is destroying my gardens as fast as I'm building them. And that's my holistic garden, so we know he's being paid to do that. You know? And he also has previous connections to Jim. Work with him. And his ex-wife, or, you know, one that passed the spirit, well, she worked with an auntie of mine in the market hall. So all the hard work I put into my holistic gardens is now plastered in weed killer thanks to the neighbour. And that's also why he's being prosecuted majorly. You know? And everyone said, don't give out personal information. Well, in order to help others through what we're going through, when you're holistics and you're into holistics and you're living next to somebody that doesn't agree with holistics and wants to target you, you have to voice it forward and you have to be open and honest so we can bring all the problems together as humanity and say, well, are we going to let that continue? Because humanitarians and, you know, planetarians, conservationists, custodians of the planet have always been targeted. And they always make them look like accidents. That's realities we're living with. The attempted, you know, when someone dies of suicide, they always make it look like an accident. Always. That's why I questioned passing with my bestie. Because I could feel there was so much stronger in it, especially when he came to me and said he felt his life was in danger. He came to me as a professional medium to, you know, get help. And I went, yeah, you are. I can see it. So, hence why I brought forward. Again, I got accused of, you know, bumping off my bestie. My bestie I've known since I was 4 years old. Why would I want to bump him off? He was my best mate. Went through life together. Took me through the maternity scandal, as I did for him. So why would I want to bump him off? No, he came to me for help because he was in danger and he realised he was in danger. And he asked for my help and my mediumship to verify. And I'd had premonition dreams anyway. he was going to pass. So your spiritual abundance and wealth is so important. Use your creativity. And if you're unlucky like me and you live next door to a potential killer who's most determined, and he's made several attempts, quite a few actually, not just on myself or my husband or my children, but my animals. Don't give him monkeys. He's relentless and he won't stop, and that's not okay. You know, I have had to bring it forward on a more serious matter now. I've got to write 9 years worth of evidence. And he's gone to great lengths to sabotage my gardens. So people like that are 10 a penny, but I will make sure he's prosecuted. You know, you don't go around trashing other people's gardens just because you don't agree with their values. Or he's paid to. It's funny how he moved in a week after my husband. Paid to. Wounded healers heal. We're all going through it. And there are many out there that I know are going through similar situations. You know, and we're all wounded healers. The healers become wounded when we help so many others, and then we get targeted. Wounded healers take time for healing. That's why I've taken time out for the last 4 or 5 years. You know, done a few tarot card readings on the days that I could. I've done Reiki, done the healing of the ley lines where I can, cleansing out of the ley lines, using the crystalline grid principles. I've done all of that. You know, I've never earned a penny for that either. That's just humanity's kindness. Kindness matters. Don't always do anything for money. You know? So, wounded healers, please take time to heal at this time if you're being targeted like I am. You've been hacked, and you know, you've had cameras in your house and people at your window and stuff like that, like I've had, and literal break-ins. It's scary, you know. I'm not denying it. I'm as barefaced as the day is long. I will show no fear in a state of emergency. But then I get to a point where our body's shaking fear, you know, and that's trauma response. Because the problems aren't being solved. The problems that I've spent so long voicing forward aren't being solved. Because they're targeting healers and truth tellers on purpose. And that's got something to do with the corruption ring. We all know that. The demonic realm. So take time out as wounded healers to heal. Take joy at this time. We all need a little bit of joy. And yes, I've kept myself indoors. And I'm being judged for that too. It's because I live next door to a guy that wants to kill my animals. And every time I leave the property, my animals get harmed. People don't think. They just assume. So, joy. Taking simple pleasures in life that's needed right now for many. Keeping everybody elevated and going as much as we can. Be joyful in all you do. That energy will go through to the ley lines. See if you're positioned on a ley line. That joy, that happiness and fulfillment will come through, and it will go into the ley lines and seep into the earth and create a better healing process for many. Using higher consciousness, using your highest vibrational sense and self and truth. We are bringing humanity and the planet into a higher consciousness, into 5D. Except for most of us, it's higher than that. You know, we're just bringing the 3D life into the 5D life all around the planet. But for healers, it can be 12D. I'm at my highest vibrational level I can be. And I've remembered all my past lives, and I've done this in a lot of past lives. I've been targeted every time. Do I give her monkeys? Nope. I'm still going to get up the next day and help with the planet and humanity and stuff like that. So your higher consciousness will help and guide you along your journey of life, will help you see the truth in your own life. You know, you might not be on the same journey as me, but when you meditate, when you take time out to take some simple pleasures and use your psychic healing, your wounded healers need to take time for healing. And you meditate, the idea is the more you heal from things going on in life, you elevate, you know. And as many of us quite rightly said, there are people out there that have never meditated, but no. And I've been doing fasting and meditating since I was about 16, 15, something like that. So, a higher consciousness. Work from your higher consciousness. You will see so much more. Not just on the earth now, in parallel universes. I could sit and discuss them all day. You know, the Mandela effect, that sort of thing. And for the reasons behind them, because every time they lie in history, they change history. That's the point of the Mandela effect. When history is constantly lied about and changed, it creates a Mandela effect. It literally creates a change in history. Therefore, it will bring a change about. You know, they say, you know, with time travel and stuff like that, that if you meet your future self, you can cancel your past self out and stuff like that. It's that same principle. When history's been lied about, it creates a paradox, and what it actually does is it changes history, creates a Mandela effect, or Mandela. You know, and the name comes from the Nelson Mandela, where everyone remembers in the 80s he died and then he's alive. Is it a parallel universe crossing over? Did he die in this universe, in this earth? And then we met a cross point and he's alive again. Because I have memories of him dying, but I also have memories of, you know, him being set free from prison. So is it a case of a parallel paradox going on? I'm more intelligent than people think. I just never show it. I dumb myself down a lot. And I shouldn't. No, I shouldn't. So your higher consciousness will see far more than you realise in terms of parallel universes and, you know, the crossover and Mandela effects. Look, do your research. It's fun. I can spend hours and hours and hours and stuff like that. I do, you know, quite happily. But look at your Mandela effects and your parallel universes. And what you do in this life, there's a theory, what you do on this plane, on this earth, in another parallel universe, you're doing something entirely different. And that, the things that you do on this earth, you can actually have an impact on the parallel. And vice versa. And that's another theory into Mandela effects. You know, when history's changed, it's going to have an impact. Time travel. Time travel exists. Mediums can do it every day. We can peel back the layers of time on a building like an onion and see what was there previously. Hence why I put it into synergy. Like time travel and stuff like that. And seeing, like, I can look at a building and I can literally envision all those layers of that. I'll see, like, the building fall away, like in the film The Time Machine, where he goes back in time and everything filters away. It's what we get as mediums when we go to buildings and we see what was there before. We're seeing a snippet of time. And we peel back the layers of the onion, if you like, and we see the layers of time. And I've been doing that up and down the UK since I was 18. Going from place to place, helping paranormal investigations as a guest medium. Cleansing buildings from dark entities and people. I've done house cleanses. I've done exorcisms on people. I've literally removed dark entities from people. you know, and exercise them out. I've been doing that since I was 18 in England. So when you get to this level, you see life so much differently. You know, I was teaching my mates at school how to be a medium, how to use their mediumship. And I've been teaching mediumship all my life. I've never earned from that either. Because everybody's born with the same capabilities. It just depends on how much you use it. So, higher consciousness is needed for the next bit. Okay? Psychic healing is the next card. Like we said, when you're a psychic medium, or you know, you can see into the past, present and future, and we all do, you're under psychic attack, like we all are, mostly, for voicing the truth. You need to do your psychic healing. So make sure you're doing your psychic healing at this time. It's important, because many mediums have been under dark magic attacks. No, it's not me either. I remember in the pandemic, we all got hit with dark magic attacks, and we were all, you know, pulling out our evil, you know, the evil eye to stop dark entities coming through and stuff like that, and protection and stuff like that. We all did it. We all wore jewelry at one point. That was fun. And different principles, because we were all under spiritual attack for voicing the truth. So psychic healing when you've been under psychic attack, it's important to rest, recuperate, as everyone says, your Palo Santo, which I've got abundance of. You know, I make sure I get the regular, and I think I've got every different type of sage, different things. I've even got, you know, things like, these are good actually, I'll recommend these. White sage and Palo Santo incense sticks, really good. These are really good, so I recommend these. And they're literally just incense sticks. I used them all, don't think I have. And they're really good for you. And they combine, you know, like white, so you get white sage and lavender. I bought a whole new selection of them to cleanse out, do spiritual cleansings and such. But when we're all under psychic attack for voicing the truth, you need to do your psychic healing. And yes, they did block my third eye for a bit, just to confirm others out there. They were messing with my third eye and crown chakra, and I felt the drain. It felt like someone stuck a straw into my brain and started sucking out my energy. I managed to get a block on that. I blocked them and returned to energy to where it came from. Remember, I track energy to source. So those that are doing dark magic or demonic entity summoning and putting my photos in freezers and all that nonsense, all the spirits at the moment, you do realise I can track it along the ley lines back to who's doing it. There are many things I've never discussed online and what I can do as a, you know, spiritual being with a high ranking. And that's also what they wanted to do, was reduce my high ranking status as a medium. And I can energy track people casting dark magic along the ley lines, just as I can track down dark entities along the ley lines. And the graveyard magic that's put on me, and death magic on my finances, my business, my relationships, well, I already tracked it back to source, to the casters. And the angelic realm will clip them if they keep doing it. They will never be able to cast a single spell again. The angelic realm's bad enough of me being targeted all the time. And it is serious. They will do it. If it continues, they will keep doing it. We're going through a purification process across the planet right now. That's why the planet is in upheaval. It's purifying itself of human negative energy. Like I said, when everyone's grieving and angry at the government for screwing over the planet and humanity, and they're walking across the earth, every person doesn't leave their home and fly. You know, unless you're out of body, which, yes, I can do, but I haven't done it in a while. But you literally walk across the floor. And when you're walking across the floor, going for a walk or what have you, you're literally grounding yourself into the earth. So if you're walking around grieving, hurt, angry, you know, because of what's going on around the planet, that's going into the earth. And then that builds up, like when healers, with Reiki healers, like I said, perhaps send out, instead of recycling, when we draw that old energy out of someone from an old injury, and we are told to recycle, and we are told to recycle it into the ground. Bad idea. All healers doing that, which is what's happening. That's why I said send out the recycling to the universe. The universe will recycle it. Because over time, this is what's been happening. All healers keep putting the problems and the old energy into the ground for the earth to recycle, and the earth's already at its limit. The earth's going to start spitting out humanity, which is what's happening. Like I said, Gaia, I know my nickname's Gaia, but Mother Nature itself is spitting out humanity because of the way it's treated. Its body. Remember, the earth is a living, breathing existence. It is a being, an entity unto itself. It breathes. It bleeds. It spews out volcanic activity. Bleeds. That's it, bleeding. Think of the trees. You breathe. They are part of the breathing system of humans. Without the trees, humans won't be able to breathe. What are they going to do next? Bottle and sell oxygen. I wouldn't put it past them. But the earth is a living, breathing existence. And when humans keep walking all over it and abusing it, what happens? It spits out humanity and says enough. Just as any human would. No different. So when you've got lots of people grieving, angry over the state of their governments, when you've got people that are just not healing, for instance, they walk around and, you know, problem being is that energy transfers into the earth. And a collective of people all doing the same thing, boom. That's what's happening. To heal the planet, you've got to heal humanity, all what did we say yesterday? I think it was at 8.2 billion people. Then you'll have a calmer planet. Not an easy task, is it? Getting our governments to treat the people right would be also the first and foremost thing. Stop the corruption. That's why there is a break and a angelic realm saying enough, time to weed out corruption on every level possible, because the way they're going, there's going to be no planet left, you know. And those of us who are energy sensitive and healers can feel that. We can feel Mother Earth, if you like, the earth itself hurting. When you're drilling into a skin, or you're, you know, using explosives into her skin, she's going to spit humanity out for good. Just as why my nickname is Gaia. That's my children, and my daughter, my granddaughter in the spirit realm is called Gaia. You know, after her grandmother, me. That's why my daughter nicknamed me Gaia. Because I'm a very earthly bound person. So eventually when people walk all over me, I spit them back out and go off, taking advantage. No more abusing me. You know, everyone does. They reach that turning point where they go, do you know what, enough. Absolutely enough. I reached that turning point 5 years ago. And I'm still seeing people walk all over me like I don't matter. So, you know, each to their own. I'm happy to move on. So a purification purpose at this time, not just for healers or mediums or tarot readers or people needing help. It's a purification of the earth. The earth will eliminate humanity. That's what people don't realize. If humanity pushes the earth too far, bye-bye humanity. That's why we need to bring it back down to a nice level of healing and companionship, if you like, between humanity and planet. Because in order to heal the planet, you need to heal humanity. In order to heal humanity, you need to heal the planet. It works like in the eternity symbol, yeah? The 8 on its side. You need both, that yin and yang, to make a balance. Not just within, but without too. As above, as so below. As within, so without. Yeah, so a purification process is happening at the moment where anything that's not good for planet is being moved by the angelic realm. Anything that's not good for humanity, as in the corruption ring around the planet, is being removed by the angelic realm. It is a purification process at this time. So take note and use your wisdom. We're all wise souls. We've all got great life experience. That's why psychic counsellor is also something that I trained to do before my bowel cancer hit really bad. And I'm bringing that in to the business too, because I trained in it. I noticed a gap. So I thought, right, psychic counsellor it is. And I went and trained at college. And the tutors went, no, you were sailing through this too easy, go at a higher level. And then my cancer hit and I never got to finish that bit off. But life experience, been trained in counselling and care anyway. I can do it, no problem. So use your wisdom. We've all got life experience, that what works, what doesn't work. Bring it in. Bring it into your readings. Don't be afraid to voice something you've been through. Because when people turn to tarot, it's usually because there's something in their life going on they can't quite understand, or they need a bit of support. Give them a life experience. This is what I'm doing. Opening up, opening my shell, if you like, coming out of my shell, and helping people through life experiences, being an inspiration. That's a part of it. But the main point is if I've been through something and got through it the other side, that information, that wisdom can then go to help others. Hence being a psychic counsellor, you know, and helping others through problems where we need to. And by all opening up and being honest and going, do you know what? Yeah, life's not great. Most of humanity, life's not great right now. Sorry, my husband's snoring. Use your wisdom. It's there for a reason. You can bring a whole new collective into this, a whole new genre of what's possible. And many people turn to tarot readers for support or help. And people that are asking to do readings on me, you don't have permission. You crossed the line there. Or those that were stealing my identity, getting readings on me, pretending to be me. You broke privacy laws, big ones. I won't tolerate that. I prosecute that. I've never prosecuted anyone in my life, but my guy said, no, this time you've got to. They've got to learn not to keep walking all over you. You're like you don't matter. So, live and learn. Revival. So, after the purification process of the earth at this time, and healers need to do the same, you end up with a new beginning, a revival of something important around the planet. Notice the volcanoes. And the eagles seeing the highest perspective of all, gliding over, looking at the volcanoes. Once you heal and you get the healing of the planet, it revives itself. The Earth's going through, one, a purification process that's actually removing those that damaged it, piece by piece, and reviving itself into a higher level, going through its own wisdom. The Earth has memories of its own. Think about tree roots. Trees communicate with each other along the lines of the roots. Didn't know that, did you? But they do. Trees communicate with each other. You know, even plants and trees emit sound waves, and they communicate via the roots. So, using wisdom, you end up with a revival, a renewed state of being, a higher consciousness. Isn't it there, isn't it? Yeah, you get a higher consciousness, a higher state of being. A metamorphosis of change. Taking something bad, shifting it and changing it into something good. So for instance, like I said, if I go through a life experience and heal from it, I then metamorphosize it and turn it into something good that can help somebody else. It's how we bring forward solutions together. You know, stealing ideas, no, I won't allow that. But sharing of information to build a higher consciousness of the collective of all human beings across the planet, no matter who you are. Still say devil worshippers aren't welcome here though. You get the metamorphosis, the change, the higher state of being. You see things then from the highest consciousness of all. You get the revival, which leads to union, the balance within the light and the dark, the yin and the yang. 11. I've been seeing Angelic 11 absolutely everywhere again. 11:22 as well. And as I look at the clock, 012211. There you go. Confirmation. So, absolute confirmation. In order to create a balance, you have to create the yin and the yang within. We've all got our dark side, we've all got our light side. Which one wins depends which one you work on the most. That's the saying, isn't it? But you need that balance, that yin and the yang, to create a balance on Earth and humanity and the planet. The planet has a yin and yang too. The planet has chakras. There are 7 chakras that go through the Earth too, in each of the crusts, in each of the layers of the Earth down to the core. Yeah? Angelic 7 is an important number to 7 as well, if you look in terms of space and astronomy, and I studied astronomy with my dad growing up. See? It can't be me. He wasn't just an ex-RAF pilot. So, the eternal bond of the twin flame now. Some people can say twin flame union, but it can also be if you are part of a twin flame, it can be you. In order to come together with your twin flame, you need that inner balance and healing. Or else it's out of balance and it doesn't work. We're in the state of inner balance, outer balance, to create balance and healing of the planet. Cup of love, the crow overseeing, or the raven, the royal divine self. Alignment. Complete and utter alignment. So, angelic messages for the day. I've had this reading sat on the side for about 3 days with my angelic angelite. It is angelite, isn't it? With that, and obviously it's because it's of an angelic message. Smothered it in Palo Santo too, to keep it protected, sitting on the side until my guy said, right, time to do this reading, as this is the action plan. So, Song of the Soul, answer to your calling. A twin flame is nearby. Listen to the song on the breeze. Take some time for self-care, divinely guided to take some time just for you. Inner balance is needed at this time. What was I just saying? Balance. Planet side. If humanity is out of whack with the planet, then you've got imbalance between humanity and the planet. Twin flames are meant to elevate people and planet, remember. We're the divine beings that bring in the balance for humanity and planet. 144,000 of the angelic earth angels designed to come together to add further to that. Okay, same calling. So there has to be a yin and yang between humanity and planet in order to create and calm and soothe the Earth's energy, the actual planet. Yeah. So inner balance is needed at this time, the core of the Earth. And remember, the heart chakra of the Earth is the outside. Believe it or not, it's the plants, it's the greenery. What colour is your heart chakra? Green. That's the same as on the Earth. Green. And that's your plants, your flora, fauna, you know, that sort of thing. So, inner balance, and then once you're balanced within, you can send that balance outwards, which is what we do. And that is, we need a balance between humanity and planet. We need a balance between government and humanity. You know, less corruption, more government actually doing what they're supposed to do for the people. They're meant to represent the people. They're representing investment at the moment in corrupt ways. That has to stop them. And we know not all government officials are corrupt. I've met plenty of non-corrupt ones, and they were lovely. You know, I could sense their energy. They weren't corrupt. And they genuinely care. So, the freedom to choose. You have choices, but choose wisely, for destiny's path will lead the way. Every time. This is an angelic destiny. The angelic realm's not about sit and take anymore. I just relay the messages, you know. Even I have to, you know, I can't bicker and argue. If I'm sent something, I have to do that too. Even if I want to do something completely different, if the angelic realm make me, you know, wake me up at 0404 is a favourite of theirs with me, or 444. And I'm put on protection, I have to do my protection. Mainly staying awake, doing protection on my family at this time. Because they always injure you by going for your family. They know your weak spots. Take note. To going gunning for your family, it's because you're on someone important. That's what I found. The gunning for me, to this level, and getting so many people to come up against me, it means I'm on something really important. If they're trying to kill me solidly, they're really on someone important. I'm going to keep going, you know, for the basis of everybody's sake. So, colour healing energy. Colour healing can aid you in many aspects of your life. Do you notice when you wear your favourite colour, how you feel outwardly tends to be more confident? Look at the healing energies and the colour wheel chart for elements. So your favourite colours, if you feel confident wearing your favourite colours, wear them. You know? Colour wheel therapy. Like purples is your crown and third eye chakra. You know, your violets. That's why I've got purple in my whole way. It's also a regal colour. We are divine, regal individuals. Some of us just didn't realise how much until they went through their DNA, and I did. You know, more royal bloodline than even I realised. So, and you've been targeting a royal family member. You're idiots. So take yourself off and heal. You know, not just now, divinely royal. So I will call people idiots for targeting me. I do have a very famous bloodline, but also an important one. Think of JFK, the Paris Agreement. System changer. There's a spark within you that needs to be seen for the benefit of humanity. Voice yourself and what comes forward that can help raise elevations of the planet. Source energy guides. Now, why did they assassinate JFK? I actually went back on some old videos yesterday, and well, in my early days in mediumship, I was getting messages through from Marilyn Monroe, which I got right into the novel. And she found a similarity to me in how obviously she had endo and a lot of miscarriages, and went through some things in her childhood similar to what I went through. So she, you know, her spirit found her way over to me, and she was very fond of me. And I went through like a hypnosis old video I have, and the spirit of Marilyn came through, and she wanted me to give something specific out anyway. So I haven't had a chance to write what she wanted to write word for word. I have put some things in my books about the spirit of Marilyn and how she passed, what she wanted to say. I do have some work to do in New York, a particular job over there. But JFK wanted to make a difference in terms of no to nuclear weapons after the atomic bomb went up. That's hence why the Paris Agreement was created. Now, I've been non-nuclear weapons my whole life, which I find interesting. From a DNA point of view, I've done that naturally. So, why'd they assassinate him? Knowing too much. And he knew about the aliens too. Oh, look. So, source energy will guide you at all times. Source being God, universe, alien. I think God is an alien personally, and we're all experiments. Humans are experiments for other beings put on this earth. And do remember, with nuclear war, they found evidence on the planet Mars now that there was a nuclear war that took place there in the soil. NASA found it recently. We're not the first. This planet Earth is not the first planet Earth. Have a look at soil samples that were taken from NASA, from the planet Mars now, and they found nuclear weapon discharge. Think about your face on Mars, your pyramids on Mars. Think about pyramids on Earth. This is version 2 of planet Earth, you'll find. Go do your research if you don't believe me. So, we are system changers. We are here to make a difference. Done so for my whole life. Not about to change on that now, of course not. Not about to back down, no matter how many threats they put on my friends and family. Think I don't know, think again. Dark magic will not work, because I can blow it apart within seconds nowadays. So leave my family and friends alone, will you? Stop targeting them. So, stop trying to dish the dirt on my private life too. Breaking confidentiality and privacy laws. Just because you want to gossip. No gossipers. You can tell my great grannies around my hands are doing certain movements. She wants me to say a lot more than what I'm allowed to say. Strong women in my family, every time. That's where I get it from. I was brought up by strong women who would not tolerate any shenanigans. So, that's how I learned. So yes, being a system changer isn't all what it cracks up to be. You get targeted frequently. If you're a humanitarian, you're constantly threatened and targeted with your life. They threaten your kids. They threaten your house. They threaten your loved ones, family. You know, they tip it into, well, if you don't shut up, we're going to take your house and kids. Boo-hoo on that one. I have no fear of them. Spent a lifetime doing this to me. I've become numb to it by now. And still get up and go, right, if you're finished, I ain't gonna give up on bringing better changes for humanity and planet. We're here to elevate it, first and foremost. Forgiveness is the way forward. Forgive others for your sorrows. Learn from the hurts. Not every person has your best interests at heart, but there's something to learn in forgiveness. Take a soul search for the answers. Be gentle with yourself at this time. Now, I've had a chat with the spirit realm on this one, as some will know out there, me and my forgiveness. So I'm trying to take my life. There is a certain line where you don't have to forgive the person for their behaviors. Trying to repeatedly kill someone is one of them. However, you can forgive yourself for allowing it to happen too long, not stepping up to the plate going, oi, that's enough. Forgiving, there is levels of forgiveness. You don't have to forgive. There is nothing in the rule book saying you have to forgive someone for trying to kill you. Nothing in the rule book at all. And they've tried to kill me many times. Don't have to forgive that. I have spoken to the angelic realm. I have meditated. I have spoken to my spirit guides. And the answer always comes back of, well, attempts on your life, I wouldn't exactly forgive if it was me either. You know? So, forgive yourself. And realise they're just lower vibrational beings that have got the mentality of gnats that think they can get away with it. You know? Forgive yourself. Things like paedophilia, that is a difficult one to forgive. And after what happened to me as a child, it took me a while to forgive, but before my children were born, I managed all of that. And, you know, I made sure it wasn't put onto my children. Again, another false rumour I'm putting to bed for good. They falsely accused me of rubbish I didn't do. So forgiveness is a way forward. You don't have to forgive the perpetrator for, say, sexual abuse. You don't have to forgive the perpetrator for murder. You don't have to forgive the perpetrator for attempted murder. But you need to forgive yourself, you know, and realise it's not your fault. Those humanitarians will understand that. The amount of times they've bumped someone off who wants to make a difference. Always make it look like suicide. They always do. You know? So, forgive yourself. If someone's made an attempt on your life, or they've raped you, or they've abused you in a way that you know is not good for you, forgive yourself first and foremost and realise it's not your fault. People are just low vibrational scumbags, you know? So forgive yourself. But the more menial things, yes, you can forgive someone. Now, I've spent a long time conversing and arguing with the angelic realm over this one. Why must everyone says I must forgive the person that really hurt me bad? Why? Why must I? If I've created a boundary and a line saying I'm not prepared to accept that behaviour, and they repeatedly do it with intention, then I shouldn't have to forgive them. And repeatedly making attempts on my life is unforgivable. It started like as many have picked up on in my childhood. And it's not acceptable. So you don't have to forgive the perpetrator for trying to end your life. But you can forgive yourself and move forward. Give yourself that inner love, that inner self-healing, that grace to know that that wasn't your fault, you know. Forgive yourself and eventually that inner forgiveness goes outwards. You end up over time forgiving someone anyway. I could never, though, forgive someone for trying to make an attempt on my life. That is crossing the line. Seriously crossing the line with me. The heart's calling. No matter where in life you lead, always listen to your heart for the answers. The truer to your heart you go, the warmer your heart will glow. Listen to your heart as a natural guide, for it's never wrong. Heart space will always tell you how you feel. And you'll feel it when it's awakened as warmth, of glowing and loving. And then there are other times where you protect it and you put a shield around it, like I do. And when I've been hurt too much, I kick everyone out of it and I shield it and self-heal it. And then only those that, know me know that I give unconditional love. But when it's not given back, I have to I have to put a barrier up, a protection, a boundary. It's a better word. So, to thine own self be true. The call of the soul is a strong one. Listen to your souls daily and what drives your own soul in loving truth. Be true to yourself when something doesn't align to your soul. Soul search for the answer will come. Meditation, soul search, listen to your dreams, signs from the universe. You'll get them, To thine own self be true. You know your principles. Like I know my principles. I have to remain in a high moral state. That's just me. I couldn't bear hurting someone with intention. I wouldn't even dream of doing it. That's me keeping a moral high ground on my principles, my integrity, So, to thine own self be true. Empty hearts take time for rest. A rejuvenation of the soul is needed. Take some time to yourself to replenish the heart and soul. Empty cups need time to heal. Someone doesn't want me to speak because my throat. It's also when we get throat chakra difficulties, it isn't just someone doesn't want to speak. We're repressing something that we want to say too. See? Throat chakra blockages isn't just about, someone doesn't want you to speak. It's about things that you're repressing and not speaking about. See? Empty cups need time to heal. Find a quiet spot and meditate to clear your heart space. The soul at play. A youthful soul is a happy soul. Take time to play, laugh, have fun, dance, sing, whatever makes your heart light and your soul joyful and youthful. Keep the balance between work and play, inner soul happiness. So a balance is what's needed. See, most of these the reading that I'm bringing forward is about balance, whether it's inner balance or outwardly. It's all about creating balance, that yin and the yang. When one is out of balance, the whole thing doesn't work. So I know for myself, everyone said, oh, go out now, you're going to blah, 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 blah. But when you live in a town where there's nothing but pubs and, and one club that keeps spiking people, you've got the cinema, which is stupidly priced nowadays, go for a walk. I do go for walks when I can, but like I say, when you live next door to a hitman and all their cameras are on your house constantly and they're watching who's coming in, who's going out, somebody else does that. It's not easy. So I manage the best I can. That's why my world inside is everything I need. So inner soul happiness. Gotta be happy within yourself before you can give to others. The same, if you are letting people walk all over you and stuff like that, it means you're not loving yourself enough, or if you're treating yourself less than your worth, you're not loving yourself correctly. Give yourself more healing and love. Time will heal. Time heals most wounds, that's the big saying, but sometimes it doesn't. On rare occasions it doesn't, and it gets harder over the years. But aligning yourself with self and source. Now, this is what's bringing in. Learning to elevate your energy and bringing yourself up to higher to align with your highest frequency. Do what feels right for you at this time and try to avoid lower vibrational energy of others. If it doesn't belong to you, cleanse it out. The energy of the universe, see, with the cleansing, where you go to your Palo Santo, your sage and your incense, and your Reiki baths that I do for myself. I go on a Reiki bath, spiritual retreat if you can afford it. Different things that make you feel good about yourself, or even if it's just dancing in the kitchen to elevate the energy, or singing, or reading a book. It's whatever makes you feel good. The idea is you align with yourself and your higher calling, and you do that by healing, by doing things that you love for you, and avoid people that are not good for you. Biggest thing in my life, I always give people chance after chance after chance, because I always do want to see the best in people. But when they've crossed that boundary with me and they've taken it a step too far, it's out for good. And yes, I've said goodbye to a few people on that subject. For my best interests, that's Tiggy. She's hurt it, Paul. So she wants to go out, but I won't let her. She's on heel time at the moment. She just pulled it a bit. I keep seeing a splinter, so it's nothing serious. So your lower vibrational energy is those that continually hurt you. And my answer to that is cleanse, clear, release, get out my energy. Boundaries have gone up, and they're there for a reason, to safeguard myself from people that aren't good for me. And yes, I have said goodbye to a few people in my life over the last 4 or 5 years, because I've always been there for everybody else when they needed me. Not as the walking doormat, but more as of, well, I'm always there for people when they need it. But when I needed it the most, where were they? That's the problem that I have, in forgiveness. And I've had to forgive people that aren't sorry. They're just sorry they got caught. And the universe will deal with the rest of that for me. So, the energy of the universe. Trust the universe at all times. Rebalance your chakras, meditate and cleanse down your aura and energy for other people's energy affecting yours at this time. You can absorb too much of other people's energy. As healers, we all do it. We all end up giving too much, and we think, no, we've given too much, we've depleted ourselves too much. Stop giving. You pull back. And that's what I've been doing for the last 3 or 4 years, pulling back. Saying, right, I've given my energy to so many people and helped so many people along the way. Not being a people pleaser, but more, I know how it feels to be in their shoes, and I would not want to see them heal, and not want to see them hurt, should I say, rather than. So, if I've been through it, I can understand it to help them heal through it. Life experience. See, it's about verbalizing, being a psychic counsellor, knowing that we go through life, we go through these difficulties, different life lessons, different stages, different levels, different devils, as we all say. So, heal out what you can. You can rebalance your chakras by simply, healers know how to self-heal anyway. That's why I took the self-healing journey, obviously for a good reason.